Going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Manchester United 1, Brighton 3. Where do you even start? Where do you even start with that one, to be honest, guys? I mean, I don't know where you even start with that. I think the title really says it all. Tactically humbled. Erik ten Hag and Manchester United tactically humbled by Brighton. The better team won. Yes, at points we played okay. Played some nice stuff at times. In the first half, started well. But realistically, we come out of that games really with no complaints. You know, people might point to VAR, but I think they got that decision right. We just got beaten by a better side, and that is ultimately unacceptable. Now, obviously, look, Brighton have gone to other home grounds. They did it to Arsenal last season and beat them 3-0. But it doesn't excuse the fact that, again, we were just beaten by a better team, and we were just absolutely tactically humbled. You look at Brighton and how they started the game. As I mentioned, we started the game well and played some of the best stuff that we've played all season in the first, 20, 25 minutes, something like that, before they scored. But what did Brighton do when that pressure was on them? Don't change. You know, okay, we'll weather the storm. We'll keep going. We'll keep doing our thing. When we get our opportunities, we'll be clinical. That's it. That's it. You know, and then they get their goal. We don't really react to it. Second half, you're thinking, are we going to see some kind of reaction? Second half, we actually dropped off in the second half, and Brighton just picked us apart. I mean, there's individuals we'll go into, obviously, and no one covered themselves in glory today. We saw a change of system. We saw a diamond, which, again, at times worked. But I look at a player like, say, Casemiro, and I say to myself, he looked completely lost and sluggish. And he was eventually taken off and replaced by an academy graduate in Hannibal. And Hannibal played better than him when he came on. You know, I look at Andre Onana and I say, for at least a couple of those goals, you have to do better. You have to do better. Particularly that third one. He gets his hands to it as a keeper. If you get your hands to it, you've got to be saving those. I look at, for all of the goals, what were they all? Really midfield runners. No one tracking midfield runners for the first one as well. Just, again, really tactically poor. And it just, again, I sit here, like I said, I'm not... We you know, sometimes I mentioned like the Arsenal game, we go, oh, you're a bit unfortunate today. We weren't unfortunate today. We got exactly what we deserved today, unfortunately. You know, you look towards your captain, Bruno Fernandes. Did he really do anything of substance today? No. You look at Marcus Rashford, got in good areas today. What was he doing? Being greedy, not finding his teammate. You know, on the occasion that his teammate was found, the ball had gone out and Højlund's goal was chalked off. But a couple of times he could have found him as well. Didn't. And it's just incredibly disappointing. And you worry. You really do worry, because whilst there's parts of the game, when we started the game well, it's not how you start the game, it's how you finish it and what's the final scoreline. You can see the final scoreline in front of me on the screen, 3-1, and deservedly so. And frankly, it could have been and maybe should have been more. Ansu Fati should score at the end. You know, there was actually a good save by Onana towards the end, but by that point, again, it's too late. And to be honest, if it would have been 4-1, would we have really been sitting here saying, no, that wasn't reflective of the game? It probably was reflective of the game, let's be honest, there as well. And it's incredibly deflating. We now go away to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. I actually think in the way that Brighton are playing, they might actually be playing better stuff than Bayern Munich. I watched them play last night, but honestly, it's even difficult to look that far ahead at the moment, because you have to look at what's happened today and just say it's just not good enough. It's just really not good enough. And I know that Brighton play really good stuff, and I know they're a good team and they'll do well this season. They did well last season. They won away from home in big games last season as well. But at home, with the players we've got on the pitch, we should be beating Brighton. Hot take, right? Oh yeah, massive hot take there. And I think it was it 20 games unbeaten at home for Erik ten Hag? That's come to an end today. And as I mentioned, deservedly so. I'm going to be fascinated to see what he says now, because he said in his press conference he was bullish that everyone was feeling good. The atmosphere was good. The training was good. And I don't necessarily not believe him because, as I mentioned, at points we played okay, but it's about being clinical and it's about being fragile as well. Oh my goodness me, how fragile are we defensively? It feels like at this point that every single time the opposition goes forward or every single time the opposition has an attack, they score like every time. You know, we're toothless defensively. We play some good stuff. We move the ball forward going well, but we don't take chances, and it comes back to bite us every single time. And as I mentioned, Ten Hag and United got absolute. When you lose 3-1 on your own patch and you're 3-0 down, and it takes, you know, an academy graduate to score a speculative goal. But let's face it, it could have been 4-1, it could have been 4-0. Did we even deserve to score a goal today? Maybe. But that's a humbling. We got humbled at home in front of our own fans. And the atmosphere, the pressure is on as well. No doubt about it. Rasmus Højlund got substituted for Anthony Martial. Boos rang out around Old Trafford today. And you hate to see that. You absolutely hate to see it. I can understand the frustration. Part of me almost feels like probably Højlund's minutes were predetermined before the match anyway, coming back from injury. And by that point, it's just, let's try and save him for the future. But there's going to be, I mean, there was pressure on, you know, Ten Hag and the team heading into this game for a variety of reasons because of the general mess that Manchester United find themselves in at the moment. But now there's pressure because of the results as well. And my worry is, and I'm almost, you know, reluctant to say it out loud, but my worry is that we've seen this before. We've seen where this goes. And somehow, some way, we have to find a way to buck the trend now. And I think that's by still backing the manager, still supporting the players, still trying to support the vision. But it's going to be difficult. Like the next, because let's face it, we're going to go away to Bayern Munich. And that's, we're naive if we think that, oh, yeah, we're going to see a big reaction in that game. Let's face it, that result, chances are it's going to be a negative one. And the pressure is going to be even worse. It's going to be even higher. This week is going to suck. This week is going to be shit. And we've got to just kind of get a grip with that now. But it's rough. It's rough. And I think Roberto De Zerbi, honestly, I was chatting to a friend of mine, a Brighton fan, and I was saying, I've had this theory, because historically, you know, the top 6 managers that start the season do not end the season at their clubs. And whoever it may be, when they lose their manager, they're going after one person, and that's De Zerbi, because he's an unbelievable coach. He's an unbelievable manager. And today he proved it, as he's continued to prove it in last season and into this season as well. Some of the decisions, and again, this is where you have to, we get into the territory of, so you're saying, Owen, no, some of the decisions by Erik ten Hag, I didn't get today, and they clearly didn't work as well. I thought, to be honest, this is a, you know, I see some people saying the diamond didn't work. Ultimately, you can say the diamond didn't work because we didn't win the game, but we played. This is the most frustrating thing with United, is that, you know, for the first half, we went in half time, 1-0 down, and it was like, oh, but we played all right. We thought we did okay. And then the second half again just completely falls apart. And what can you say? Honestly, what can you say? A couple of super chats, then we'll get to your calls. The link is on the United View community tab for members only. Of course, the members can call in and have their say. So if you are a member, or if you do want to join the Man United's UV Members Club, you can do so. Links in the video description, so also the pinned comment in the live chat. Once you're a member, you can go to the community tab on the YouTube channel, and you can find the link there, call in and have your say. Let's get to these super chats first, then we'll get to a call. Nem Green says, disgraceful, did not work hard enough out of possession. I back the manager, but today he is also at fault. Hannibal and Palestri need to start. I think that's a fair super chat. I do. I think that, and again, this is where this weird discourse is going to start now over the next 24, 48, 72 hours, where Ten Hag does deserve criticism today. Absolutely. We lost 3-1. It's unacceptable at home for that to happen. Some of the decisions, some of the selections. I think towards the end of the game, you're chasing the game. Bruno Fernandes was playing right centre-back. That's madness. I mean, you can't dress that up. It's madness. It really is. I look at the Højlund and Martial thing, and like I said, I think that's probably predetermined as part of a recovery plan. But you look at, you know, the decision not to start Palestri, Casemiro. to be honest, there's an argument to me. I mean, it's a big game for him to be dropped for Bayern Munich away from home. But you're looking at Sofian Amrabat going, how quickly are you available? Because Casemiro needs to drop out the side because he's not up to speed for whatever reason at the moment. But the manager deserves some criticism of that. I mean, you can't shy away from it. Keegan says, questions got to be asked of Ten Hag, positions and game plan was lacking. Ezio says, why were there Viva Ronaldo chants at Old Trafford today? Were they Viva Ronaldo chants or were they Viva Garnacho chants to bring him on? I'm not sure. They might have been Viva Ronaldo chants. Some people might feel, oh, this is what Ronaldo was talking about. Some people might have been saying Viva Garnacho to get him on because, again, he deserved to come on earlier on as well. St. Marlow says Ole Gunnar Ten Hag. Samaga, which is with the contribution, appreciate that. Here's one says, mid-table finish this season. We're like Chelsea. A lot of people not happy. PC Game Attack says, City, Liverpool and Spurs came back from a goal down. Baffling substitutions today. Didn't get why Martial was on for Højlund. Like I said, my hope is, and it'll be interesting to see what Ten Hag says about this after the game. My only hope is that he would say that he was always going to play 65 minutes anyway because he's come back from an injury. If he says, oh, no, it's just tactically wanted something different, then that's madness. Basic. You'd bring on two strikers in that instance. So we'll see what Ten Hag says. Hussein says, De Zerbi has been with Brighton less than a year, and they're amazing to watch. We are going backwards with Ten Hag. And to be honest, this is going to be a real challenge for a lot of people because some people today will be a bit of a turning point for them in terms of their perception for the manager. I would lean into it's a game, it's one game, but it's not good. It's not good at all. Let's get to the first call. Let's go to Charles first. Charles, what are your thoughts on that? How do you break that down? Where do you even begin?
All I'm gonna say is the only thing I took away from that game is the fullbacks can play. That's it. Region, Dalo,
you did all right. Yeah, you did.
They were like man of the match. You can give any one of them. Honestly, I have a question though. How does the first 11 get picked? Is it on form? Because this is 5 games. None of our forwards have a goal. 5 games in, not a single one has a goal. But Rashi played 90 minutes. Facundo didn't get up to 10 minutes. And I heard KG saying he has to do more with the cameos. What are you going to do in 8 minutes when you're Facundo and you're holding 4-1 at home to Brighton that are keeping the ball for fun?
No, I agree. I mean, I was surprised. What? I think a lot of people were. I'll put the question back to you. What would, if you're Facundo Pellistri and you don't start today when you've got...
I'm gone. Bro, there's no right winger and he didn't play a right winger. All week we have the solutions. We have bare wingers. All we have is wingers. We played Bruno on the right. I think last season I came and said we don't create enough for the strikers. What did Højlund get today? Everyone said we need a striker. Last season, I said we don't create enough. People were calling me a crackhead. Højlund played today. What did that guy get? All I saw was we get the ball. Bruno plays it over to Rashford. That's all. And then Rashford head down. I think it was 5-6 minutes into the game. Højlund was open, bro. This guy wanted to dribble 5 defenders and score. What is going on? Then you have... even the people that are backing Sancho, now it's beginning to look like Ten Hag is really moving mad with the favorites team because there is no reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. Last season, we were playing a different style of play. Everyone said, give them preseason, they're going to get used to it, blah, blah, blah. Season started, they're getting through us like a knife through butter, bro. Next thing you know, we're playing a new system again today. And then the system is working all right. Ten Hag is like, okay, they're scoring through the middle. We'll just let them go down the sides. Bro, we've held 4. What's this guy doing? He's taking us backwards. And even on the Rashford thing, what's the difference between that? Rashford's season with Marcel where they both got like 20-something goals or something. What's the difference between that Rashford and now? Where's the upgrade?
Yeah. Well, and also, like you mentioned as well, it's the playing with the number 9, isn't it? It's okay, you've got someone that's now making the runs, find him. I can only recall in the game, I think once he put a ball into Højlund, and that's the one we just missed.
Again,
but it's not enough.
Last season, our players don't create. People were telling me we will get a number 9, Rashford will cross the ball, Anthony will cross the ball. Rashford, cross. That guy doesn't even place the ball. All he does is, bro, short power, that's it. That's all. Anthony, I don't even want to talk about that guy because he's not even here. But who is going to provide for the strikers? You guys told me Bruno creates a million chances. Owen, show me them chances today.
No, look, I can't disagree with you. And Bruno Fernandes are not really creating much at all. And if anything, as the game went on and we needed more, he, along with really that whole midfield that started well, just vanished. And that's concerning too, isn't it? I mentioned earlier on that Brighton, you look at what happened with Brighton. Look, United first 20 minutes played all right. They weathered the storm and they continued to play on. The problem, we do the opposite. The
I know.
first kind of punch, the first jab, the first punch to the face, the first black eye. That's it. Like we'll just retreat, no
It,
more.
it
No, thank you
wasn't
very much.
even it wasn't even that. So like if you check after like 15 minutes, the intensity was gone.
Mm.
If you look, Rashford wasn't running after 15 minutes. Like he was already hands on his knees, breathing like he was gassed. Bruno was just running and pointing like, you go there. Rashford was like, bro, I cannot. Hoyland is just there running down blind alleys for no reason. Like he's just like running. Martial comes on, there's no difference. Like Hannibal comes on, that guy is just rage, bro. He's just I don't even know. He's just aggression. But at least he scores. Then you now go
But he's
back
trying.
and it's
He's
like
trying.
yeah, he's trying. We'll give him that one, but still, it's just streets of rage, bro. Ten Hag says the mood was good. They're training good. Everybody is positive, bro. This is not looking positive. 5 games in, I haven't seen anything different. There's nothing different. It's just 5 different kinds of losses. Even Nottingham Forest, they were 2-0 up. The only thing is Nottingham Forest are shit though. Like they are shit. We will always
Mm.
score against Nottingham Forest. Wolves, we scammed it. Heavy.
Yeah.
Every other team, they have put us, bro. What is going on? We're supposed to
Mm.
be better. Like, and the worst thing is, Ten Hag could leave us worse than Oli. Because at least with Oli, we had money. Bro, we were rich. Ten Hag could leave us, and all we have is just money for bare loans.
Is that Ten Hag's fault though, in terms of the spend? Because we've spent the same amount every season, regardless of manager, haven't we? Whether it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, Eric Ten Hag, we've always spent. We've always been overinflated. I don't know if that's so much on the manager as opposed to just
Nah,
the terrible people running the club.
I won't say it's. I think the manager has to blame because he's the one picking the signings, isn't he? 100 million and
Yes, I
Anthony.
agree with that.
That
I
that
agree
that,
with
that
that. But
wasn't
just
Arnold. That was ETH.
but
He wanted Anthony.
I know, I totally agree with that. But I mean, more so just to say that Ten Hag left us with no money. I mean,
Bro,
every manager has spent.
I don't care. Mount 55 million going to 60. Anthony 100 million. Lissandro isn't even looking like Lissandro of last season. Who else did we sign? Casemiro, we signed him for like 70. Everyone's looking at him now like he might have to leave. That's how much spent already. That's like 200 plus on players that 1 season later we are saying they might have to go. Even Amrabat that's coming. Do we really think that if Amrabat played today, there's any sort of difference? So
It's
what's
difficult to
what's
say. I
going
mean,
on?
Casemiro came, was looked lost out there, and even Hannibal came on and made a difference in terms of scoring a goal. I mean, if Amrabat's involved in there, maybe the first half there is a difference. I don't know.
Nah, there is no difference. I don't see like anything different in like Amrabat just getting the ball and keeping it safe. Like we passed the ball around, but we just didn't do anything. Brighton just took their time. They were patient. Even the last goal when Gross left Lissandro for dead, bro. I was hurt. Like, and then Onana. Everyone told me, bro, we are conceding because the head gives the ball away. We have somebody that can kick as good as it gets. Talk to me, Owen.
No,
Talk to
I,
me.
I agreed. I said earlier on, and I said it on social media today. I look at least 2 out of the 3, maybe even all of them. And you look at, in particularly the third one, for
Owen, I'm
me,
talking
like
from
a
from
point of
game
rule
one.
from.
From game one till now, I bet you the hair saves at least 80% of the goals we have conceded. And we win those games like maybe 1-0, 2-1, just like last season. Don't forget, games last season we were winning 1-0, 2-0. And it wasn't because the defense was solid. Every week the hair was moving crazy with the saves. But Marcel told us we need someone that can kick the ball. We will not be facing as much shots if we can kick the ball. People are running through the middle of our field now and just shooting for fun.
I think that is part of it as well. I do agree with you that Onana should definitely the last one, possibly the second one as well. He should save those. But I think also that how open we are for all of the goals. We've conceded essentially the same goal, or however many goals we've conceded this season.
It's
Essentially,
the
they're the
same
same goal every
thing.
time.
It's the
It's the
same
same goal
game
every time.
all season, 5 games in. I'm not saying Ten Hag out, but right now we have to look at him because everyone during this whole Sancho situation, everyone was like, Ten Hag has to be in the right. He done this. He sent him to this for this. Bro, look at it right now. Players that should be getting subbed off are starting. Nothing. Rashford hasn't done anything from game 1 to game 5 to warrant a starting place. Bruno hasn't done anything from game 1 to game 5. You look at the entire lineup, the attacking front line, Garnacho, Martial, Anthony. Hell, throw Bruno in there since he wants to play right wing now. He hasn't done anything to warrant starting. But these people start, they play 90 minutes, game in, game out. Now you have Sancho coming out to say, this don't make sense. I'm being a scapegoat. Don't say I'm not training. Look at what is happening on the pitch. The people that you think are training, we come out there, we look like distant strangers. Somebody was saying we need a reset. We just came back from international break.
No,
what kind of reset do we need? We're facing Bayern Wednesday, and then on Saturday, who do we play? And we need a reset.
No, I totally agree.
5 games.
Anyway, Charles, I'm going to have to wrap it up because we've got a million other callers to get to. We're already 20 minutes into the show. Appreciate you calling in and appreciate the support as always. Big up to you. Let me get to some super chats because they're piling up as well. I've got to speed it up. Owen. Where are we at? Mid-table, City, Chelsea, Zerbi. There you go. Jerome says, hey, Owen, the club is rotten. Erik ten Hag definitely at fault, but the same goal 3 times cannot happen. The players need to switch on. Zayn Miasi says, Rice has taken Casemiro's crown, buy of the season. Well, I don't even have the energy to come back to Zayn Miasi today. Zayn is just full of pain. Gaurav is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Miss Red says, is Garnacho, Højlund, Palestri too much of an suggestion that they should start? Take Your Profit is the latest member of the UV Members Club as well. Here we got one here. Says, if we can't support our team through the tough times, then none of the victories will mean a thing. Completely back Ten Hag. Too much shit to clear out before we put our focus on tactical shortcomings. Nick J says, are we really debating Ten Hag out? The Glazers win again. This guy's waffling non-stop. This is the fan the Glazers love, distract and deflect. Well, I think some of the criticisms are valid, certainly. And look, everyone's going to come on here and have their opinion, whether you agree with them or disagree with them. Some of them I might not agree with. Some of you may not agree with, but that's the whole point of debate, isn't it? VK says, we swap our tactics for Brighton and we are at home. It's naive tactics from Ten Hag. With Marcus and Højlund pace, you think Palestri crosses would be crucial today? I do agree. I was very, very surprised, and I think it speaks volumes that Palestri wasn't selected. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Amanor. Amanor, talk to me. What are your thoughts on that? You're usually quite a, by positives, negatives, and conclusion kind of guy. Where are you at today?
Oh, hi, Owen. I didn't watch the match, so I had to rely on KG's and DJ's analysis. So just take it with a pinch of salt. Take it with a pinch of salt. I know. So apologies. Well, can I just say 2 things then? If that's all right. I'm not going to do positive, negative, but I want to look at it from a strategic point of view. I know you spoke to your Brighton fan. Answer this question, please. With critical thinking, if you don't mind, and putting your Man United bias to one side. Do you who is the better coach, Zerbi or Erik ten Hag? That's my question to you.
It's a loaded question you've come with, Amanor, to be honest. I mean, on today's evidence, today, Zerbi was the better coach. Zerbi got it right today. It's in the title for a reason. Ten Hag was tactically humbled by Roberto Zerbi. Now, Ten Hag's not the first coach to that to happen to at home. We saw Mikel Arteta with a similar thing yesterday. You could argue, Erik ten Hag has achieved more than Roberto Zerbi as well throughout his career. He's won titles in other countries. He's won a trophy at Manchester United as well. So, I mean, right now, you could argue the job that Zerbi is doing at Brighton. There's an argument to be said that it's one of the best. It's one of the best jobs in the league that any manager's doing at the moment. And also he lost players this season as well. It's a difficult one, and I don't know.
Can I just say though, I'm not saying Erik ten Hag. I'm not saying Erik ten Hag out. Please, I'm fully support my manager, but just because we fully support our manager does not mean we don't have the right to question certain things. That's all I'm doing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And no manager is beyond criticism. As I said before, for me, I look at some of the decisions today. I mentioned it earlier on in the season. I mentioned that Spurs game when you had the front three and every player felt like they were in the wrong position. So I think Ten Hag does have to take a brunt of criticism today. And Roberto De Zerbi clearly is one of the best managers in the league, if not the world at the moment. I think Brighton's biggest problem this season will be that can Roberto De Zerbi see out the season at Brighton? Because as I said before, just how it works, the top 6, top 7, however many clubs there are now in the Premier League, the managers that start the season don't end the season. And there will be clubs even now that are looking at it going, should we try and get De Zerbi in? What's going on with him? There'll be people that'll be thinking that. So it's a difficult one to answer. It's a bit of an absolute sort of question. But today, the better coach was De Zerbi, clearly. And also as well, even when we started, because we started the game better than Brighton, we had chances. Even though we started the game better, Brighton didn't care. They didn't waver. They didn't. We'll wait. We'll weather the storm. We'll keep doing what we're doing. It's like I said, it's humbling. Like Danny Welbeck's a player we got rid of years ago because we were like, he's no good. Went to Arsenal. He scored against us today. Opened the scoring. He's in the Brighton team.
I know. Just one last question because I know you got the calls, mate. So this is my other point I want to make. So, like I said, I support the manager, but I do question things. And this is one of the things I do want to question. And this is more on the players. I think Ten Hag's got a bit of favoritism in him, like a bit like Ollie. So I still don't understand why he won't drop Rashford. And I didn't watch the match, but I've been told Rashford was like not great. So
it's a fair criticism. It's a fair criticism with Rashford. No, go ahead.
And why does he not drop Rashford? And my last concluding comment before you take the stream, Owen, is that he still persists with playing Bruno on the right, even though we have a right winger Pellistri on the bench. Please, Owen, make that make sense for me, please.
I think the Bruno on the right thing, I can't make that make sense. I don't understand it. I mean, when the team news came out today, I was worried he was going to be on the right. I mean, he kind of was and he kind of wasn't because it was a diamond, so he kind of shied away from it. I looked more towards the end of the game. We're 3-1 down. He made some substitutions. Bruno went to centre-back, right centre-back. That is a madness. I still don't understand that at all. The Rashford thing, look, Marcus Rashford scored 30 goals for us last season. My only thing I can think of is that Ten Hag thought, well, he might come up with something. The same way that, look, against Arsenal, was he playing that great? Not really. And then he just snapped into life, came out of nothing, scored a goal. Maybe he thought the same thing was going to happen to him today. Rashford today was the greedy Marcus Rashford, and someone's got to literally, grab a hold of him and say, look, you're playing with a striker now. You're playing with a number 9. As a wide player, it's upon you to service the number 9 as well, make chances for him as well. So there you go. Appreciate the call, Aminor, as always. If you haven't already, click the like button. How many people have we got watching at the moment? We've got over 1,200 people watching, nearly 1,300 people actually watching, 165 likes. I know it's not really the time to like. People probably don't even want to like at the moment and all that kind of stuff. It's incredibly frustrating. Where are we next? Let me check. I'm caught with the super chats. Indeed, I am. Let's go to Sashiv. Sashiv, how are you doing? What are your thoughts on the game?
Good evening, Owen. How are you doing? And I'm feeling absolutely, it's like, I don't know, like, honestly, I mean, I have to give Brighton a huge a round of applause to them. They have absolutely out-tacticked us in the second half, absolutely schooled us. And Rashford, I don't understand why is he being so selfish in the last few games and now again. Like, come on, you have Højlund as a new striker. You got to square it. Like, you had one chance and then you put the ball at the flipping side net. Like, what is going on, man? It's like does it absolutely reminded you of like all those preseason games that we have played? After I watched all those preseason games, I was worried. I was hell a lot worried.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And when I said the similar thing after preseason, and people said, you're being negative, you're being this, you're being that. And it was like, man, there are warning signs there. You know what it reminded me of today, actually, Sasha? It reminded me of those games that we've played away from home, where early on we do all right and we create some chances, we don't take them. And then as the game goes on, we just fall apart. It was kind of exactly like that. I mean, what did you think of Ten Hag and his selections today? Do you think that, the criticism that's going to go towards him, do you think that's deserved? I mean, what did you think?
I think as for today's game, I think the question really needs to be asked, like, why? Okay, Casemiro, maybe I get that, but like, I don't get why was Højlund being subbed off? Why? Why was Højlund being subbed off? I mean, what has Martial offered since he literally came on the pitch? And to be honest with you, Hannibal and Serge Reguilon today, I think those were the two players that have really given their all today, pretty much. So, I mean, as much as I really want to back my team to win today, I mean, I wasn't that surprised, to be honest.
No, it's true. It's a good point. I mean, I spoke about it yesterday in the press conference that I said that if we lost, I think I might have even said like 3-0 or something like 4-0. I said, would we sit here and be surprised? And honestly, we sit on it. Now we're on the other side of the game. Are we really shocked that the result went the way it did? Not really, because Brighton have got that in them and we've got that in us. It's just disappointing.
Brighton and all Albion have a very fixed, fluid system in the team. Fluid tactics, fluid system in the team, and the Zerbi, for me, he deserved, as I said just earlier, he deserves all around applause from me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really hope that they should get minimally top 5 this season.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, look, people forget with Zerbi, he didn't have a full season at Brighton last year. I mean, if he goes a full season with this season, anything's possible.
Water, and then, I mean, Brighton are really the team to watch for. I've said this last season. They are the ones to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, the interesting thing as well is, obviously once they get into the Europa League games, they're going to be playing a lot of Sundays. It'll be interesting to see how they balance that. But, it's a strange one because you come out of it today and there's not a ton of excuses, really. They were the better team. I mean, there's individual performances that weren't great. What did you think of Andre Onana for a couple of the goals? Should he do better? Is it a combination of, the midfield go missing as well? What were your thoughts on some of the goals?
I mean, all I see was Scott McTominay. He was just jogging around like a flipping headless guy. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, Onana should have saved that for the second goal, I believe. And I mean, I think for the first and the second goal, he should have saved that. But I mean, I don't have much to say. I'm just like, Brighton have really left me speechless, and I wasn't surprised about this. As much to my optimism, I was thinking of a 3-2 win or a draw, at least.
Yeah.
But well, it is what it is.
Yes, it's a tough one. Just quickly before we wrap up, where do you think we go from here? What do you think? How do you think we'll do against Bayern on Wednesday, and just generally throughout the season? Do you think we'll bounce back, or is this going to be a long season ahead?
I think this. Owen, I don't know. I have no answers for now at this moment of time. I mean, it really. I think if Ten Hag really stops his favoritism, and that's what he really he has been frustrating me for the first few games. Like, what has Facundo? I mean, come on, he deserves like at least half an hour of game time at least. I mean, Bruno on the right, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
No, I totally agree. I think from Facundo Palestri, I mean, we were all assuming that Facundo would start, and then when the news came through that he didn't today, I think everyone went, I mean, if that's not a sign of your United future, if I'm at January now, I'm going, right, can you get me a loan move? I'm off, because I'm not going to play. Clearly, I think sometimes the truth is in the team selection, unfortunately. So there you go. Appreciate you calling in, Sashib. As always, long time support of the channel.
Listen, one last thing. I'm not Ten Hag out. I'll still back him until the end of the season. If the form keeps going like this until the Christmas, then I'll be struggling to back him at this point of time.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Fingers crossed we get it turned around. Appreciate you, Sasha, for calling in. We've got a super chat here as well. Take Your Profit says the problem is that we lost. It's how we are losing and the personnel we are losing with. If Erik ten Hag is giving our young players a chance, at the very least we can be happy they are getting chances. Like I said, I think people will look at the Facundo Pellistri omission today and question it. I think rightfully so. And again, it's a difficult one because and I'm sure he'll be questioned about the diamond or the choice of formation. And he'll probably point to, I would think, the first half by saying, well, we played well in the first half. We were unlucky and we created chances. But it's not about 20-minute periods, is it? It's about 90 plus minutes. Well, at this point, like 100 minutes. And it's also about the result. And the result wasn't good today. And the overall, again, it's not like we come out of this and we go, yeah, we were really, really unlucky today. Brighton they nipped us 3 times and very unlucky. It wasn't like that at all. It wasn't. It was, because like I said, we got humbled at home, and we have to hold that. Game Fanatic says, you guys all memed Reguilon. He was good today. Absolutely, Game Fanatic. You're right. I think, in fairness, I think a lot of people did, and a lot of people did the rock people's eyebrows at that signing. But he did very well today. It wasn't perfect performance by any stretch of the imagination, but he did well, and I think he can hold his head high. And looks like he's going to be a positive option for us. So credit to Reguilon. He did well. Red Baron says, deja vu, fans attack the manager. We get rid, we repeat process. How is no one not seeing the bigger picture? I understand people are emotional. Well, this is something I mentioned earlier on as well, Red Baron, is that I think that what we have to ensure that we do is, break the cycle here. And that's my worry, is that we feel where this is going, can't we? And it's important that we, I think, as fans, see that this is where things are going and go, no, come on, still got to keep the faith and stick to the process. I think that Ten Hag, I don't think he's beyond criticism as well. And that's where I think that we have to find this right line. You know what I mean? I think we have to find this right line and say that, and I think in fairness, a lot of the calls so far have said this going, I'm not Ten Hag. The phrase is, I'm not Ten Hag out, but. And I think that's what everyone keeps saying at the moment. No manager is beyond reproach in terms of criticism of tactics, team selection, favoritism, and they're valid criticisms as well. And that's it. The players take the criticism. They didn't perform to the best of their abilities either. But the buck will stop with the manager. When you don't win games, the manager does deserve criticism sometimes. That is what it is as well. And criticizing him and criticizing some of his selections, some of his substitutions, that's not saying, I want the manager to be sacked. He's not good enough. He's a bold fraud. He can go. It's just saying, mate, that's not good enough. And it's interesting because going through this now, I recall the We Talk Ajax guys were saying something similar, saying that I recall in his first season, certain things he was being stubborn. They were saying that's one of his most almost negative traits is the stubbornness. And sometimes he, will be so stubborn in his ways, and it takes for it to get really bad before he just finally caves in and goes in a certain direction. And maybe that's what's going to happen here. But that's what will get you. If you fall on your sword. I think it was Kenny on one of the full views saying that was one of his worries, is that are you prepared to sort of what's the phrase? Are you prepared to die on this hill, essentially, for this thing, for this decision, for this tactic, for this player? And that's something that I think does need to be called out. But the people that will be very reactionary after a defeat like they go, see, this is why he's got to go. We've got to get rid of him. That's too soon. It's too soon. That's too much. And he has earned some credit in the bank for what he achieved last season with hands tied behind his back. And look, and as I said as well, look, this week, reality check is probably going to be shit. It's probably going to be shit because we can hope that maybe we can get something out of the Bayern Munich game. Chances are probably ain't going to go too great. You know what I mean? Probably ain't going to go too great. And the pressure is going to be even higher and the discourse is going to be even worse after Wednesday. But we're just going to have to push through, honestly. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Lucas Chan.
I've got hey, how are you? Oh, sorry. I'm good. Yeah, sorry, I just had beach volleyball, so I'm on my phone.
No problem. What were your thoughts on the game?
To be honest, I'm surprised no one has talked about the work rate off the ball. They kind of mentioned it really briefly during the game. It's just like they were talking about how Brighton's work rate off the ball is so good. And then I was watching ours, and it was just like we just stopped and watched, and then they would just pass it around us, and we would get frustrated. And that's exactly what Brighton did against Arsenal last season. They beat them 3-1, the exact same scoreline. They just passed it around, got the crowd frustrated, got the people online frustrated, and then just frustrated Arsenal, and then just quick, easy goals. So
no, I agree.
So I'm actually really surprised no one is talking about Man United's work rate off the ball. Like, it is terrible. Like, I remember like when we played Liverpool last year, that's when it looked like everybody would look like Hannibal Mabry, just everybody chasing everyone down, just like just not giving them a moment to breathe. And it's weird. I'm going to say this, but I feel like that's why we have Mason Mount. Because Mason Mount...
Do you think it would have made a difference today?
Like, well, there's always ifs and buts, but like, to me, like, I can see why he wants a player like Mason Mount. Like, it's starting to make more sense why, because everybody's questioning why he wants Mason Mount. But when we saw Mason Mount play, he doesn't give the defense or midfield a chance to really breathe. He's on them, like he's kind of like Fred, but more, I would say, more technical, better on the ball. Like, that's my opinion. I don't know if you really agree with that or not, but I can tell with your.
No, I think the thing is with Mason Mount is that we were open with him. I
feel like we just need the balance.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like right now we're just trying to find that right balance, and it's very frustrating that we're not getting that balance. And last year we kind of almost had it, but then I don't know. Even like the end of last season, we were just getting by with results, and this season it's not looking good right now. But I think it will get better. It's just we're just gonna need to find the form. And I feel like too many people are hounding on Rashford. Like, I thought he created 3 good chances for Højlund. Or two at least. One, it was just a little bit behind him. One that should have been a goal. Unlucky. Fine margins FC. I think people are a little bit too harsh on Rashford. Like, he is still a prolific goal scorer. Like, and he does create chances. He created 3 chances for Nottingham Forest. Everybody just seems to forget it and just wants to hound him. I don't quite understand it. He is frustrating at points. He's just like Bruno. Like I said, he just sometimes gives you that moment where you're just like, yes, but then he just frustrates you so many times. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I think we're going too hard on Rashford, in my opinion.
Do you think some of the criticism's valid though with the greediness?
Well, like I think the reason why it's more criticism is because he's just not getting that little bit of extra luck. Like, that if that one shot he takes that doesn't hit the crossbar goes in, no one's talking about it. If he gets that ball fine margins to Højlund, like I know it's out, but it looked different angles, looks like it's in. Whatever, that's another assist. And then he did another exact same play cross to Højlund, but it just missed him. So there are I think he just gets the ball a lot, and then he just frustrates us with just either holding on to it too long, or I don't know. I feel like all eyes are on him right now, and someone needs a scapegoat. And to me, I thought Licha was not very good. I thought Casemiro was not very good. I thought they were worse. I thought both of them were worse than Rashford, in my opinion.
Why do you think there has been such a drop off of Casemiro?
I don't know. I think he's just, the balance is off. It's just the midfield balance. I just honestly feel like the team's not really cohesively bonded, and there's just so many off-field problems. McTominay didn't really help. Like, everybody hounds Anthony for slowing down the play, but when he slows down the play, he allows the midfield to get up, and there's just nothing on the right side today. The right side was pretty quiet, so it's all these things. Like, I feel like we didn't have any outlay to the right, so all the outlay was going through Rashford, and of course more eyes on Rashford, so everybody was frustrated with him.
Finally, before we get to another call, Lucas, any
hope for Wednesday against Brighton?
Oh, my boy Alphonso Davies. I hope Wan-Bissaka's ready. Yeah, as you know, I'm Canadian, so I support my boy Davies, but I am a Man United fan through and through. So I feel like, you know, we love these European nights, and this is what we live for. Like, we love these kind of moments. So I'm just hoping for a really good game.
I appreciate Lucas. Whenever they say we're waiting for a good game, that's never any good. That's not a good sign. It's a very political answer from Lucas Chad there. We got a couple more super chats, and I'll get to a couple more calls. RK says next 4 out of 6 games are at Old Trafford. Play like this, and he needs to go. Where Garnacho and Pellistri punished for not eating their veggies, baffling subs. Well, like I said, particularly the Pellistri one, I didn't get at all. I didn't understand that. Game Fanatic says Rashford creates chances, of course, but he always looks to see if he can shoot himself first. Only if he can't does he pass for the chance. Needs to be early. I think with Rashford, and I think the sort of selfishness criticism is valid. And it's a fine line, because sometimes people are, oh yeah, you're betting on yourself, taking on the player. But sometimes, and a lot of the time, it feels like it's at the expense of the better chance, of the better opportunity. Last season, maybe he got away with it more just purely because there was no 9 in the box to really go for, so he had to go by himself. That's not the case anymore. And he did make a couple of chances for Rasmus Højlund today, a couple of balls in the box, but it has to be so much more than that. And the best players, 9 times out of 10, will make the right decision. And with Rashford, it feels like that percentage is lower. It's maybe 50%, 40% of the time. That's not to take away from what he achieved last season, but lots of people have pointed out, you know, with this new contract, if you want to be considered one of the best, one of the elite top, your decision-making has to be spot on the majority of the time. With Marcus Rashford, it just isn't. It's not. And today was an example of that. You know, if it's almost like if you don't make that pass or you don't pick out your teammate, you better score. Because if you don't, people will come for you. Your teammates will come for you as well. That's it. And Rashford, like everyone today, no one's immune from criticism at all. No one's immune from it. Let's go to another call. Let's go to Eric, 10 years, but now there's a couple of question marks on Eric, 10 years. Are you having doubts?
No, I am having some complaints.
Yes.
Some concerns about my boy Ten Hag. But 10 months, okay, maybe like 5 years now. Yes. But yeah.
What are your concerns then? What are your concerns? What are your frustrations today?
My concerns, before I get to my concerns, can I address what we were just talking about now with the Rashford complaints before? I think it's overblown. I think people are exaggerating Rashford's selfishness. He can be a bit selfish, but that's something that you find in a lot of forwards. But the selfishness, I think, is overblown because he's using his fullback's run as a dummy for him to shoot or for him to take on somebody. What I think is the big issue with Rashford that's not being overblown or not being given attention is how poor he is outside of possession. Out of possession, he's very poor. Like,
people are pointing
bro,
out the body language. It's body language, isn't it? It's the body language.
Yeah.
Or a couple of times the jogging, the hands on the hips. I mean, I can't remember specifically when it was, but it was definitely second half. There was a point where when I noticed it, they're just Brighton are sort of bopping the ball around in the middle of the pitch, and Rashford's kind of standing there. And I was thinking rather, if this was the other way around and this was like Zerbi, he would not allow that player to be that close to the ball or the player and not be hassling him, going after him. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's criminal. I don't have a problem with him going to shoot or having the confidence to score or using a fullback or a striker run as a dummy. I don't have a problem with that. But and that left-hand side of, I always talk about this. Eriksen, Reguilon, and Eriksen had a good game today. I mean, he was doing a Zidane impression in the first half. But that left-hand side of Eriksen, Reguilon, and Rashford out of possession. We might as well just give them a go. It was so bad. And okay, now my concerns with Ten Hag. My concerns with Ten Hag are his in-game management is horrible. I think if you could have a hybrid of some of Ollie's, because Ollie was good. I didn't like Ollie. I don't want to be that nostalgic Ollie guy. But Ollie in-game, his changes that he made were good most of the time. He would change the complexion of the game. But what happens with Ten Hag is that his in-game changes are weird. They're very weird. And in fact, he's trying maybe to build momentum or to find some sort of momentum, but he ends up killing it with his changes. It's so weird. So that's one of my concerns. And then another one of my concerns, the balance. You cannot put Eriksen and Reguilon and Rashford on the same side. At least do a Bruno, Reguilon, and Rashford. So that, because one side was very strong outside of possession. Dalot had a good game once again. Then there's Bruno on that right midfield side, and then there's Højlund. Three people that are very good outside of possession. And then we have on the left side a total contrast. So that balance is something I'm concerned with. I'm also concerned with how he deals with things outside of possession. How we like counter press people. We always getting scored via transitions, and the same type of goal, Owen. A pullback, and there's like three guys available for the pullback. It was towards the end of the game. It was João Pedro, Evan Ferguson, and one other guy, always available for the pullback. Where our midfielders to track back? Why are our defenders getting sucked in so much that they can't deal with that pullback? So it happened the first time in the first half. Ten Hag talked to them during the your halftime talk and tell them, guys, we can't let that happen again. It happens 2 more times. Who do you blame for that? So I that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no contract extension for him. I can't give him the 10 years. Now we're going to do the 5.
Yeah, I do agree though with the goal. I mentioned that earlier on that. And it's not just this game, it's this season. It feels like we've conceded the same version of the same goal in near enough every game, as you mentioned, either going down the right or left. They sort of pass between the lines. You go, oh my goodness, they're in behind, cut back. And if it's not the first person arriving in the box, it will be the next person arriving in the box that will put it in. And it's incredibly frustrating. I mean, Bayern ahead, looking a bit ahead, Bayern Munich on Wednesday. How do you think that one goes for Ten Hag? Does the time get even more reduced after that game, or what?
No. I'm not gonna be. It's look. I'm not gonna give him even less time after that game. I know what to expect from there. I do have some things to be positive about when we verse in Bayern Munich, because I watched them over the weekend and I watched them in the I think. That's like curtain raiser trophy thing that they were playing against the Super Cup thing. So I watched them both times and I saw that the midfield was very lacking physically. And I think that's something that we do have, especially if he can bring Amrabat in. I think it would be something that could help us. So our midfield might save us. I think, Owen, if Casemiro gets his head back in the game, or if we start, I know people are going to kill me this, bench Casemiro and start Amrabat, I think we have something against Bayern. Because Casemiro is...
Casemiro? What do you think? What do you think's happened to him? Do you think it's just a case of he's a slow starter? Is it a case of him coming back from international break with Brazil? Or why do you think there's just been this difference in Casemiro this season? Is it just because he's older at this point?
Yeah, I think it's that. But Casemiro has always been good at reading the game well and knowing when to press, when to slide, when to even do those tactical fouls of his where he raises his hands and says, I didn't do anything. He knows how to read the game properly, but his reading's been off and he always looks flat-footed. He always seems to be coming to press at the wrong time or closing down the wrong player when we lose the ball at the wrong time. And then the worst thing, the most irritating thing, Owen, is when when we are trying to hold the ball after we've conceded a goal, trying to build back momentum and do what worked before, he just kicked the ball. Like, he just pass it back to them. And that frustrates me a lot. So I don't know what he needs. I think, it might be just him getting older, losing his sharpness. But I didn't think it would be sharpness of his mind and how he works cognitively. So I don't know, man.
I agree. There's sometimes in the game, I don't know if it was tactical today, but he just looked lost. And I think it's an eye-opener, certainly, that you've got a youngster and Hannibal Mejbri comes on, and he looked like a better option. You know, gets his goal, he was moving around a bit better. By that point, it's a bit chaotic, so it's a different game. But I do think there's some question marks over Casemiro. And if anything, the positive is that now we do have an Amrabat, and either Amrabat supports Casemiro, or, as you mentioned, you take Casemiro out the firing line a little bit and say, right, you've got to fight for you've got to play better. You've got to play better than how you play at the moment. I don't know. So,
but I tell you what, Owen, we win against Bayern. I think it's on Wednesday, right? We win against them if we bring Mount in. Look, Mejbri did well, nah? And that was bring Mount in, put Mount, Amrabat, carry on with that 4-4-2 diamond thing. And just bring Mount and Amrabat in. I'm telling you, we're going to do something on Wednesday. That's me.
We'll wait and see. You call back in Wednesday. We'll see if that prediction comes true. I appreciate that, Eric. 10 years. Mount and Amrabat will win it for us. Oh, that's very confident for Eric. 10 years. Where are we at with Super Chats as well? Rashford, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Rafa says the critique of Rash is valid, but I can see that he has no trust for the front line. The last time that was one of his and Martial's best season. Today we were empty on the right. I hope that you're partially right there, Rafa, in that it's just a familiarity thing, hopefully, and the fact that Rashford's in bad habits and he's not used to playing for number 9. I feel like that kind of gets him off the hook, though, a little bit for just poor decision making. But someone's got to say to him, whether it's, Benny McCarthy took a lot of praise for his work with Rashford last season. But now it's also like, Rashi, it's not just about scoring goals when you play across the front line. Yeah, it's about getting assists and picking out the right pass at the right moment when it matters. Because United historically throughout the year, our great strikers or great wide players have been able to do that. Here's one from Gurav says, Rashford needs to improve on his decision-making. Sure, he can run, and last year he scored a lot, but he also wasted a lot. Everyone should be ashamed. Terrible performance and no effort at all. A lot of people saying that Rashford needs to improve. Marlon says, we need to get more numbers in the midfield. We signed Onana to control games, but we started playing mainly on the counter. Need fullbacks in midfield and a goalkeeper as centre-back. Play Bruno behind the striker. Ten Hag in, but fix up. And you know what? I think that last bit's the part there. I think hopefully, I would hope most people are at where they're just saying, look, it's not, one result or a bad start to the season, get rid of the coach or anything like that. But it's like, it's got to be better. Like, there has to be improvements. And I understand, we do have a lot of players missing also, but it's not as if we put our weak team today, because we didn't. That team should be good enough to beat Brighton. I have a very good Brighton, nevertheless, but still that team should be good enough. And at points, it just wasn't good enough. And I'm interested to see what Ten Hag has to say after that. I appreciate the super chat from Marlon. Brendan says, they say Ten Hag rules with an iron fist, but when it comes to Rashford, Ten Hag rules like a man without any balls. Oh, Brendan. And V33 says, Owen, Man United is breaking my heart. I'm growing weary. I think United's breaking a lot of people's hearts today as well. And as I mentioned in the conclusion, guys, before we wrap things up, it's going to be a long week, I think. You never know with football. Sometimes things come out of nowhere and surprise you. But it does look like it's going to be a long week. And frankly, it'll be a bit of a long season. And that's not get rid of the manager, because I think that's too reactionary by this point or anything like that. But it's going to be a long season. No doubt about that. But there you go, guys. Appreciate everyone that's called in. Appreciate everyone that's contributed. Appreciate everyone that's been in the chat. How many likes are we on before we wrap things up at the moment? We're on 260 likes. No, it's not really a liking kind of day or anything like that. But if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Of course, what's on tap for the remainder of the day? Well, obviously, all of the fan views will be coming from UVHQ, KG, DJ Micah. Obviously, outside of Old Trafford, you'll have Flex, Marcel, I think Cam was at the game, so plenty of content from them. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Match Day Reloaded. There's going to be a lot to break down, a lot of Ten Hag quotes, a lot of reaction from all the guys on UV. Your reaction, your thoughts, 24 hours, well, the morning after, the night before, that kind of thing. And then tomorrow, full view, 7 p.m. It's going to be a big one after the week we've had, after the result today, after the reaction and the fallout to today's result as well. So be sure to check that out. Anyway, guys, try and have a good weekend. Maybe turn off your phone. You know, maybe call in sick on Monday if you really want to or something like that. Here's hoping that we have a positive result on Wednesday. But until then, I'll speak to you again very soon. I'm out of here. Peace.